Hello, everyone. My name is Dominika, and I am the Worldwide Business Development Lead at AWS. I am based in London, but I work with our customers globally, whether they're newspapers, magazines, or actually digital native publishers. Today, I'll be spending the next 30 to 40 minutes walking you through how we at AWS innovate with our publishing customers. And I want to start today's session by saying that we work with many publishers around the world. Some of them can be visible here on this slide. However, it's worth noting that the list is definitely not exhaustive. And they trust us with very crucial workloads, from content creation to acquisition, from supply chain, data analytics, and monetization. Some of them I will cover today. And however, if you have any specific questions around specific workload or a specific customer, please reach out to myself or to the account team, who will be more than happy to provide you with additional information. When we think about publishing, we probably envisage the big transformation that the vertical is currently going through. And what we hear and what we see from our customers is that the reader, the customer, is at the heart of it. Their experience and engagement drives monetization and profitability. The reader wants a personalized experience. They're constantly on the go, consuming content on their mobile, reading their articles on their desktop, and reading and consuming news in a very different way that they used to via video and via audio. Hence, today's conversation will be very much about how we at AWS help with making the reader, the customer, at the heart of publishers' decision-making and the transformation that they're currently going through. And before we dive deeper into exploring how AWS specifically works with our publishers, I want to mention the quote from the CEO of the New York Times. And she puts it very well by saying that her priority is actually making sure that New York Times is positioning itself and continuing to up their game as a digital product and tech company. And that's what we are seeing on the market. Many of our customers don't want to be seen as typical publishers anymore. They see themselves as digital products and tech companies. And what's actually interesting is that New York Times, who's one of our customers, is actually the second biggest division in this publisher is actually engineering. It's not just behind journalists. Another customer that's also talking about how media today is not only a media game, but it's a tech game. It's a Ringer Axel Springer. It's our publisher from Central and Eastern Europe, meaning our customer, who actually decided to go with all-in approach to AWS. Ringer Axel Springer is currently migrating their private cloud of applications, constituting around 80% of the company business to the AWS cloud. And their CEO, Mark Decan, when you see on the slide, is explaining their decision by this all-in approach as the foundation for the transformation and innovation that the company is currently going through. And what's interesting is that he's stressing that he sees his business, which includes titles like Newsweek Poland, Forbes Poland, Business Insider Poland, and other divisions such as VOD proposition and online marketplaces. He sees it as a media game, not a tech game. If you ever get a second, I encourage you to have a look at the video that's available on YouTube of the CEO of Ringer Axel Springer explaining very quickly why he decided to have an all-in approach with AWS.
I'm Mark Decan. I'm the CEO of Ringer Axel Springer. Ringer Axel Springer is leading digital publisher in Central Eastern Europe. We're operating in markets like Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Serbia, and the Baltic states, and we employ in the region some 3,000 people. We understand ourselves as a media and tech company, and our mission is to really build a sustainable business model for independent journalism, also in the digital world. We see, particularly in times we live today, it's particularly important, and that is really a mission we are very committed to, and that ties us together as a company. Media today is not only a media game, it's a tech game, and unless you are really very familiar with the big trends like AI, machine learning, you will not get the potential you need in order to make your business successful in the future. We went with AWS all in. We took a really conscious decision, and we plan to migrate all our content services and big data stack to the AWS environment within 3 years. We started the journey in September 2018, and already after 9 months we see significant progress. Already with the infrastructure savings achieved in the first 9 months, we could double the investment in our new areas, and that's really very promising. AWS allowed us really to tap into new fields of development, to focus our teams around critical topics like AI and machine learning. It also freed resources from infrastructure investments, which we can use now in other areas. And on top of that, for our Ring publishing platform, which is our ecosystem of leading media technologies, we have taken a maturity leap, which allowed us now to go to market. So we've really opened through that an opportunity to earn new revenues. AWS enables us to tap the full potential of cloud technologies. It's a very wide range, and particularly in critical areas which are success critical for the future, like AI, machine learning, data analytics, you name it. It gives us a substantial advantage, something we wouldn't have been able to develop ourselves.
When we think about what our publishers kind of are asking for and what are their, what the disruption means for them and what are the business drivers and how AWS can help, we can quickly see that firstly the conversations are around monetization, how they can acquire and retain the subscribers, the readers, and how can they launch new products. Here, of course, and the discussion starts with building a customer data platform and understanding the reader 360, their behaviors, their interests, their content consumption patterns, then experimenting with digital engagement tools, which I will touch on today a bit, personalizing the experience and machine learning and artificial intelligence. And secondly, especially now with in 2020 with the COVID situation, more and more publishers want to understand how they can optimize both their costs and perhaps also their editorial activities. We are having lots of conversations around artificial intelligence and machine learning and how they can help with outsourcing mundane activities as well as with automation some of the tasks. And as mentioned, we have many references, and I will now go deeper into walking you through some of them. However, I want to stress they're definitely not exhaustive, and we do have more of them. So based on what I just mentioned, on what are the kind of the business discussions as well as how AWS can help drive those business discussions, I want to actually spend the next kind of chapter with you on is firstly going for the understanding the reader, how every single discussion with our publisher starts with how can I understand the reader, how can that drives the personalization and recommendation, and secondly, how can I innovate with AI and ML by both outsourcing mundane activities and optimizing my business. And again, this is definitely not exhaustive in terms of what we do with publishers. I thought that this would be the most relevant topics for today's high-level overview of the art of possible in publishing. So let's start with data. In today's world, every reader wants to have a unique experience online. And publishers nowadays collect data from billions of devices, billions of relationships, as well as they also recognize the billions of events that signal intent. And understanding the reader, the user, 360 is a must. How what are their interests, what are their preferences, what are their cookie IDs, especially now the demise of third-party cookies. That's a topic that's of importance. What's their customer journey? And here we have a solution and a proposition to our publishers around reader's identity graph. How can I understand my reader 360? And of course, everything starts with building the customer data lake and fully collecting that data from millions of devices, millions of websites, and experimenting and crunching the data. Only then you can move into how can I improve the digital engagement? How can I drive the articles recommendations, content recommendations, new content alerts? How can I convert free users to subscribers, for instance? That's a topic especially important nowadays with the COVID situation. Lots of publishers are actually experimenting with making some of their articles or sections on COVID available for free, and then they try to understand who are those people who are reading for free. And once they have that data, they actually apply our digital engagement tools in order to retarget those users and help them try to convince them to become paying subscribers. Let's jump into quickly understanding how our publishers innovating with data. Hearst, for instance, a big publisher from the US, is using our data analytics in order to not only understand the relationships such as readership statistic, impressions, and page views from more than 300 global websites and apps, but they want to basically, with data analytics, better monetize and provide the right content to the readers. And actually, since using the data analytics, they are able to recycle their trending content by more than 25%. They quickly realize what is the content that's most popular now with the readers and are able to push it and make it, and recycle the content. Understanding customer is also important when it comes to music. iHeartRadio, for instance, wanted to provide a personalized experience in their online radio proposition in US, and they realized that personalized recommendations drove listener engagement, and they also realized that users with similar tastes might express genres very differently or have slightly different definitions of a genre compared to, for instance, how iHeartRadio. For instance, I would define hip-hop maybe slightly differently than iHeartRadio. Again, with the use of our solutions, they were able to tackle that and understand the customer very well and drive the users to start listening more and drive the digital engagement with the personalization that they are now able to offer. We are also seeing our digital publishers adopting the editorial personalization. The Globe and Mail, one of the top publishers in Canada. It's actually Canada's most read newspaper with a national weekly digital readership of 4.7 million, provides editorial personalization, targeted content to their users. Basically, the Globe and Mail was planning to launch a new application which basically allows readers to access stories and breaking news from mobile devices. And to increase the reader engagement, it basically decided to go ahead and serve targeted articles based on each reader's individual interests. The solution was quite flexible and allowed the Globe to improve its mobile app over time. We are also seeing, outside of personalization, we are seeing our publishers experimenting with other digital engagement tools. One of them is, for instance, daily newsletter. Some of our, here, for instance, the example is Daily Voice from US, who has been using daily newsletter in order to drive traffic to their website by providing, daily email with a digest of the most popular stories that exist in the reader's town. What's interesting is that we are seeing publishers using newsletter in order to deliver a bit different content that's what on their digital proposition. Perhaps a publisher, it's a national publisher, wants to provide local news to a reader, a bit different to what's in their main proposition, in order to generate traffic and to provide a different angle to the news that is already providing. That's kind of it in terms of digital engagement, and walking you very quickly on what are the key use cases there. The rest of the session, I want to focus on publishing use cases in machine learning and artificial intelligence. And machine learning and artificial intelligence, as mentioned at the beginning, is used to cost optimize, to outsource mundane activities, as well as to innovate. And I want to give you a couple of examples of how our publishers around the world are using ML and AI in order to innovate. Some of those examples range from automated content creation to articles recommendation to text-to-speech, to act and aiding reporting, helping journalists make the most of their work. Let's start with outsourcing mundane activities. I will start with talking about Aller Group, which is a publisher in Denmark. Aller Group recognized that in order to increase reuse or sell their photo inventory, they had to significantly improve tagging of their photos. They had, I think, around 13 million photos that they had in their inventory. And the manual work of tagging would require approximately 44 full-time employees to fulfill the task. With the help of AWS recognition, which helps with images tagging, such as recognizes person detection, scenes, and activity keywords, our group was very much able to very quickly deliver the metadata tagging to their pictures, as well as very much reduce the costs. As you can see, they were able to deliver the tagging with the cost of 0.12 euro cents per image, comparing to 3.85 per image if a human being was involved. And that experiment went very well with this publisher, that they decided to also extend the tagging to their video inventory. I want to stop a bit and show you that our group actually been so successful with machine learning that they started to innovate in the space. They partnered with one of our partners and improved auto tagging with unsupervised self-learning algorithm, which basically means they built a solution on top of recognition. The customer recognized that, for instance, when on the picture you have more than one person, let's say you have 10 people, sometimes machine learning would miss that one face. Thanks to the product that they've built, this unsupervised self-learning algorithm, the face, even when you have 10 other faces, is recognized with the use of machine learning, and the customer achieved improved tagging. With the solution, the number of images where the crown prince here, the story that Aller was writing, or especially is interested in, is Crown Prince of Denmark, was tagged, increased actually approximately by 1,000%, picking up images previously missed where the Crown Prince is with other people. And when you think about why this is relevant for publishing, this not only helps publishers to reuse the pictures and find the best pictures for a given story. But for publishers where in the markets where there are not many publishers, it also opens doors for potential new revenue streams where a publisher can resell their pictures to other publishers in the market. Machine learning can definitely help with understanding what's in the archives. In addition, when we think about innovation that AI can deliver, I always think about the example from India. Editori is an AI-powered platform. It's actually a startup that was born 2 years ago, and the whole business model is basically around providing a news app that's completely based on personalization and recommendation. And what's interesting is that the Editori chose AWS and basically was born in the cloud. When you open the app, you basically can consume news and videos, which are again powered by Amazon Polly, or read out to you instead of being read out by a human being. And what's interesting is that because Editori is using so much of AI and ML solutions, it saves manpower for sure, as infrastructure is currently managed by one person. In addition to that, with the use of AI and text-to-speech, Editori is able to expand to new geographies by just adding new features and new voices. And is that the future of news? The time will tell, but definitely in terms of personalization, recommendation, and delivering that unique experiences to readers and customers around the world, definitely the innovation is already happening. Next, machine learning can also be leveraged to determine which stories go behind paywall, especially when a publisher is trying to figure out, how to improve their subscription models. We are seeing some of our publishers here in News Corp Australia using machine learning in order to predict revenues. So the customer decided to use TensorFlow on Amazon SageMaker to basically predict the number of incremental subscriptions a new story will generate. And the solution helps the customer determine which new stories live behind the paywall and which not. Super interesting use case for sure. In addition, News UK, again, a part of News Corp, as News Australia is using machine learning for matching images with news. So it might be a bit similar to other group use case that I've already mentioned, but it's definitely super interesting because when images are being delivered to News UK, machine learning helps with automatically analyzing the existing images in the Content Hub, as well as automatically able to categorize newly arriving images files, saving on both cost and time. And News UK is now, was able to create very much rich metadata for images in their Content Hub. And that definitely helps them with the increased speed and accuracy of identifying imagery for a given news story. Very interesting how machine learning can help, to speed up the process, but as well as when you're a journalist, help you choose the right picture for a story that you're writing. Machine learning helps journalists also in a different way. The Washington Post in US is using Amazon Textract, for instance, in order to equip their journalists with machine learning data extraction capabilities, engaging them to study records of public interest faster. And that leads to breaking news based on insights from the words and structured data of NewsViewer documents. And with that solution, Washington Post is able to, get more data from documents accurately and help their journalists and their reporting. And machine learning in general is, especially for document understanding, is now a critical tool for the Washington Post to study records of public interest. Lastly, when it comes to machine learning, more and more of our publishers are testing text-to-speech, especially when you think about readers who are constantly on the go. You want to provide them ability to listen to your article. The Globe and Mail, who I've already quoted before, is actually using text-to-speech to provide their articles in a couple of languages, English, French, and Mandarin, in both male and female voices. And we are seeing more and more publishers, trying different languages when they want to not only drive the digital engagement, but also target the minorities living in a given country, especially when you think about Canada, a very multicultural society. That strategy definitely makes sense. Here is, for instance, an extract from the Globe and Mail website, and you can see that as a subscriber, I can listen to the audio. I need to log in, and I have a choice of French and Mandarin for that specific article. In addition, our book publishers are experimenting with audio, and especially with the COVID situation, lots of e-learning and went online. And Pearson, for instance, is creating audiobooks with our text-to-speech feature. And what's interesting is that the creation of audio versions of textbooks is at 1/10 of the cost of the paid voice actors. In addition, using that feature, it allows Pearson to immediately update audio textbooks each time editions are changed or are in the need of edit. Very often, our publishers are saying that of course audio can lead to digital engagement. However, is that a good way to increase revenues? And McClatchy, who is currently using Poly, decided to partner with one of our partners, Trinity Audio, who is not only helping them with generating audio versions of news articles, but the Trinity Audio technology also inserts advertising in the audio file created, resulting in a new revenue generating stream. Time spent on each site increased by 168% since McClatchy implemented this feature, as well as story page views went up by 89%. And visits per users increased by 95%. We also see Poly being leveraged for marketing campaigns. In this example, for instance, for book launch campaign. So Be Liked, which is marketing agency from London, were asked by Penguin Random House to help them with promotion of a new novel by Dan Brown. And what they decided to do was to create a digital experience with the use of Amazon's Poly's British English male voice. So I would be entering their website, writing my name, and then the British male voice powered by AWS would be welcoming me into Dan's workspaces with the following words. Welcome, let's say, Dominika. We've been looking forward to your visit. It's a great example of how Poly and text-to-speech can be leveraged for creating personalized digital experiences. Lastly, I want to touch on the fact that we at AWS, we offer our publishers and our customers around the world a program such as digital innovation, which is a way for you as our customers to work backwards using kind of Amazonian way of doing things and work together on solving an issue. Here is, for instance, an example of our work with the Globe and Mail, which I've already quoted today before. And I don't want to go into much detail, but the point is that I'm trying to make is that those programs are definitely available, and we shouldn't be too much influenced at what others did. If you have any problem that you think might need, you want to use our tools in order to solve it, please ask your account team if that would be a great way to partner together. Lastly, I want to end on the note that what I've been talking today about is very much what AWS does in publishing and how we help publishers. But of course, other divisions within Amazon work with publishers. I just wanted to end on the Amazon Pay example, which is our payment feature that is being used by some of our publishers. Here, for instance, Washington Post is using Amazon Pay in order to provide speedy subscriptions. And since using Amazon Pay is able to observe fewer decline rates and also boosted overall conversions on its site. So this is it from myself. I hope you enjoyed today's session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the account teams. And I hope that it gave you an idea of how we work with publishing customers globally, what are the key business topics and problems being discussed. And I hope that we will meet again in the next couple of weeks or months, and I will be able to dive deeper into some of the topics touched on today. If there are any specific requests, topics that you would want to cover, please do let us know. Thank you so much.